Well, hello. This is LKYLUISITO speaking to you on the interwebs. If you're new to goaltending or you've been doing goalie for a while, this is going to be an in-depth look to hybrid goalies. And we're going to be doing another video on butterfly and stand-up and giving you my opinion on what would be the best build as intermediate goalie, maybe to even expert. This is just my opinion, so let's get right into the video. Regarding all the different goalie classes, hybrid is definitely the most used and most preferred goalie class in NHL 22, but let's go into the definition of what a hybrid goalie means through EA. So hybrid goalies have excellent reflexes and the best shot recovery. They're good at stopping breakaways, but have weak rebound control. Don't expect great high and low save abilities because of their weak all-around approach. I feel that is true. They're really good at breakaways, but their rebound control isn't that great. When it comes to high pressure situations, hybrid goalies have your back. Now the first thing you need to do with your goalie is confirm his height. So with EA's definition here, adjusting your player's height will affect the height and weight rating below. So what that means is that as you're changing your height from taller to shorter, your quickness and your positioning will all change as well. As you see in the screen here, as I'm switching from 5'10 to 6'5, your quickness and your positioning all changes. But let's move on to weight and see how that affects our goalie as well. The weight for your goalie is very important just as much as your height. So when you're choosing your weight, you look at the definition that EA gives, and that's pretty important. Adjusting your weight will affect your height and weight rating below. So you can change your weight from 180 up to 220 pounds for your goalie. And looking here, for example, if you switch it to 190, you can actually see how much it influences your goalie. So when you're making your goalie heavier, you can see the speed and agility of your goalie and your positioning all changes. Now let's move on to the next part. The next part here is just handedness. You either choose your left or right hand to have your blocker and your glove. This is not super important, so we're just going to move on straight on to the zone abilities. The zone ability for your goalie build will be one of the most important things you need to choose from. Each goalie has their own preferred, but you'll be starting out with contortionist, and we'll go into the definition here. Exceptional save range, recovery, and save ability while in spread V with or against momentum. This will be the very first perk you'll be starting with as a goaltender in NHL 22, and the very next one will be stand up. Exceptional boosts reaction time and save ability on breakaways and penalty shot. This one I would say is more for threes, but this perk is a pretty good starting perk as well, but still not the best ones I would say for sixes. Now moving on to the next one. Exceptional range, accuracy, and recovery when poke checking. Through my time playing as goalie, I found that this perk is really good for getting in the way of the puck as you're standing up. So it does give you a little bit more flexibility as a stand-up goalie if you're looking not to go butterfly too often. When it comes to breakaways, it really is useful poke checking the guy coming at you. Now that we've finished talking about all or nothing, let's move on to post to post. Exceptional boost in reaction time, recovery, save ability when going post to post. This one is good for all around. It was one of my favorite perks to use as a hybrid goalie. I would say it's the second best one. Post to post is really effective when you're facing a one-timer or an in-close shot or a quick pass. It really does give you that little bit of an extra edge when facing the shooter. Let's move on to the very last zone ability. Butterfly effect. When in butterfly, exceptional recovery and save ability to make saves while moving with and against momentum. This one will be my pick as a sixes goalie. This one really helps you out when you're going into butterfly and dealing with some awkward shots. Let's move on to the next bit. Moving on here, we're going into superstar abilities. So you're gonna have reflexes, puck control, and athleticism. Compared to X Factors, these superstar abilities will have requirements. You're going to have a current and a minimum, and if you don't have it, you'll have a redness in the one you need to actually put to where it's required. But now let's go into each reflex and see what they're all about. Going to our very first ability, this would be Last Stand. Advanced boost in reflection time and save ability on breakaways and penalty shots. This is super similar to the X Factor version, but a little bit less powerful. Now going to the next one, we have post to post. Advanced boost in reaction time, recovery, and save ability when going post to post. So you notice with the superstar abilities, it'll be saying advanced, not exceptional. Moving on to the very next one here, light work, advanced save ability and reaction time when facing wrist shots. This one is one of my preferred perks, but we'll get into that at the very end of the video, so you'll need to stay tuned to see what I think are the best builds for goalies. Extra padding, advanced save ability and reaction time when facing slap shots. This one's really good for introductory and intermediate goalies, just to get your hands a little bit dirty with the slap shots. And then going to one of my favorites here, the no timer. Advanced save ability and reaction time when facing one-timers. This one I think is one of those essential ones if you're having a hard time reading one-timers, or if you're playing really high level of hockey in the EASHL or in club or in tournaments. No timer will save the day. On to the next one here. We got tip jar. Advanced save ability, reaction time, and recovery on deflections. This one was very essential at the very beginning of this game, as tips were very overpowered at the very beginning of NHL 22, but they're less prominent now. But this one's always a really good one if you're really struggling struggling with tip shots. Now going into the last one here, we have Butterfly Effect. When in Butterfly, advanced recovery and ability to make saves while moving with and against momentum. This one is a really good one, but I think the X Factor is a little bit better than the Superstar ability. Now we're moving on to Puck Control. So our very first perk for Puck Control is Handle It. Provides a large energy boost for all skaters on the team after stopping a breakaway or penalty shot. I feel like this one's more for threes, as you're not really going to be finding any use for this perk. Now on to Sponge. Advanced at making redirect controlled saves and more likely to attempt to cover the puck. This one's very useful. It's really great for if you're facing a lot of deflections. But moving on to the very next one, the X-Ray. Screens have less of an impact to goalie vision. I feel like this, if you know this team is going to be doing a lot of screenshots or point shots, X-Ray is going to be your man. Now moving into Athleticism. Yeah, I know I'm pronouncing it wrong. Now we're going to dial in. Advanced boost in reaction time, recovery, and save ability after making 15 saves in a game. This perk would be pretty useful if you're facing a lot of shots. I don't think we are. Now moving into the next one, Whirlwind. Provides a large energy boost for all skaters on the team after making 3 saves in 5 seconds. While qualifies as 5 seconds, I played around with it. I've had 4 saves in 5 seconds and no dice, so I don't think this one's going to do anybody any good. Moving to the very next one, we have Adventurer. Advanced goalie speed, acceleration, agility, and puck handling while in free skate. I think if you're looking to make a meme build, this is definitely one of those perks you'd be using as you're trying to just move around the ice and be free. And moving on to the very next one, we have All or Nothing. Advanced range, acceleration, and recovery when poke checking. Just like the X Factor version, this one is quite similar with just having that prominent stick just on the ice. Really helps you in those one-on-one situations when you're doing diving poke checks and just being big. And moving on to our very last one, Contortionist. Advanced save range, recovery, and save ability while in spread V with or against momentum. Again, this one's great for desperations and really good for those threes games. Now moving on to Boost. This is going to be a little bit shorter of a segment, not going to go into too much detail. I'm just going to give you an overview of exactly what's in Boost and how it works. So you have low, hands, quickness, and positioning. So with each category, you'll have a particular set of boosts. So with low, you have stick low, glove low, and 5-hole, all getting +2. And the blue and green, not necessarily a big deal, but it's just a different definition, different qualification to get the boost. And then with hands, you have glove high, blocker high, and passing. Passing will be getting +4, while the rest is getting +2. And with quickness, you have agility, speed, and poke checking. Poke checking gets +4, everything else gets +2. And when the last bit here, we have probably the most important part of your goalie build for regarding boost would be positioning. So you're gonna have rebound control, vision, breakaway, and shot recovery. You're gonna have +2 for both rebound control and vision, and then +3 for breakaway and for shot recovery. With that being said, we're just gonna move on to attributes, and this is where it's gonna get a little bit more interesting. Now we're going into attribute. To give you a quick explanation to what exactly the attributes do for your goalie, this is what the core of your build will be. The cost of your build will be how much it actually costs for you to upgrade or downgrade your ratings, which is what the R stands for. H and W is your height and weight. The -3 you see for 5-hole is because we made our goalie a little bit taller, that it actually affects how much of a 5-hole overall skill he has. Then you have B, which is your boost. That's where we're going to see the +2 and +4s being added to your build and then going from there. Going over the first attribute, which would be low, your glove low, stick low, and 5-hole, your rating will reflect on how the reflex speed and accuracy of the save animation for those 3 different skills will be reflected on your rating. And then moving on to handedness, similar thing with glove high, stick high, and passing, except the only difference with passing, it's just going to depend how high your rating is, how accurate and powerful the pass will be. But for glove low and stick low, this is going to be on how good your reflexes and accuracy is on when making the save. For quickness, your speed and agility are 2 separate things. Your rating will be reflected for speed on inside and outside the crease, while agility is based on your movement and how quick you want to be moving around. And then with your poke check, it's just going to be your rating based on how accurate your poke check will be. And a little side note here, speed and agility, I emphasize more in speed, and I keep my agility marginally high, but speed all the way. Now finally into positioning, rebound control. Determines the control you have over the puck during rebounds and ability to make controlled and redirect save. And then going into vision here, vision reduces the likelihood of you being screened. We'll go into that later. Breakaways heighten your reflexes when facing a breakaway shot. And lastly, going to recover. Recover determines how quickly you can recover after a save or getting out of a vulnerable pose back into control. We finally made it to the end of the video, and I'm going to give you my build that I'm currently using and will be using to the end of NHL 22 until NHL 23 comes out. I'm going to be 6'5", 109 pounds with the zone abilities butterfly effect. My superstar abilities will be no timer and light work, with our boost being +2 reflex speed, +3 recovery. And then going into the attributes, you can see that all on the screen. I'm not going to go into detail with each one. And enjoy, give it a try, and give me a thumbs up if you really enjoyed the video, and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be providing more stuff. But until next time, take care.